welcome back to Thirst Time. In today's episode, I'm reviewing the latest film from Francis Ford Coppola, Megalopolis. The shorts for this film, I came across them and they did not speak to me at all. I was struck by the visuals, but it didn't bring me in. However, I'd heard stuff about this film, namely that, well, clearly it's a very famous director of our times. He's a heavyweight. He's done a lot of classics from the 70s, I believe. The Godfather. I still have not seen that, but one day. And apparently this film, Megalopolis, is his passion project that has been in the making, obviously ruminating in his mind for a very long time. And this is his gift to us all. He's spent a lot of money on it. Like apparently, I believe over $100 million. I don't want to get too bogged down by the facts because I haven't noted them down, but I believe it's closely over $100 million into this film. It's obviously not a film that's marketed for making money because most of the reviews are quite scathing. But yeah, I was drawn into, okay, someone's put a lot of money into this. It's going to have something to show. This is a very important project for someone that's quite acclaimed. Just on that basis, I wanted to see Megalopolis. I mean, the idea of the film, like a utopian apocalyptic world, sounded interesting. Additionally, the ideas of borrowing from canonized texts, like, the Roman times, is also, totally interesting. I love the classics. So that was enough to make me really want to go and see this film. So first thoughts is that it's got a lot of poor reviews, and on that basis I feel like this film will not be appreciated today. I think this film will not be understood today. I actually think that the film's meaning, it doesn't subscribe to the portholes of meaning giving that we are waiting at today, meaning that it doesn't respond to the current way of telling a story at all. It is kaleidoscopic, it is dizzying, it's a mishmash panache, and I feel like it's meant to be that way. It's meant to just be waves and colours, like a kind of a roller coaster ride. I don't think a normal, let alone a world-class director would intentionally set out to make something that's not meant to be confusing or bewildering. I think it's literally, there's just so much chaos, and I feel like this film had to have that chaos to really give the uneasiness that we are supposed to understand that's going on in this time. So yes, it's a kaleidoscope, and I feel like because Francis Ford Coppola is he's going to be in the history books of film, that this will be one of his his misunderstood films. Apparently there's others, because this was his passion project that he invested so much of himself into at the end of his career. He's 85 years old apparently, so it's he's towards the end of his career, no disrespect at all. Yeah, I feel like it will always be looked at in future periods, and I think it'll be understood later on. However, this is 2024 and I'm doing a film review in 2024, so here we are. What to say about it? So I'm not going to give a synopsis of the story. I feel like the story is kind of unclear. I mean, there's definitely main characters. There is some landmarks in the film that let you understand the beginning, middle and end, what it's about, the premise and the conclusion. Does good overcome evil, etc., or do the two sides come together? It's all kind of clear there. But in terms of character development, realism, no, it's not there at all. Sequence of time, it's not there at all. The narrator's point of view, it's not taking you on a journey that's easy to understand. It's really more about the embellishment of the moments. Visually, it's totally amazing. The coldness of New York City, or the spirit of New York City, that coldness in metallic silver and gold and brass and chrome, you do feel that in this film. And I like how he blends the modern world with Romanesque styles. So there's so many different visually interesting scenes that I really loved, and I feel if your mind is trying to tell you how does this all fit into a realistic human story, you're going to be disappointing yourself. You just go along for the ride, and the dizziness and the giddiness But what does stand throughout the whole film is it's extremely moralistic, philosophical. There are so many deep and meaningful one-liners that I wish I could hold on to them. I'm like, I'd like to go back to this thought and this idea and ponder on it, but it just, the kaleidoscope falls into the next arrangement of a scene. So there's this bombardment, this cascade of ideals about, I guess you could call it the meaning of life and the purpose of life and what it's all about. That's all in there against this backdrop of somewhat of decadence. But I don't say this, yes, he does describe decadence, but I guess it's a civilization that has achieved wealth and stability, and is at the precipice of falling over. And I do believe there's like one line that said, a civilization only stops, like only begins to die when its subjects stop believing in it. And, that is for me a reference to postmodernism, whether it was post-war or whatever, where all of our fundamental beliefs were seen to be proven to be misleading, and from there it became a very large confusion and embracing brand new ideas which are infantine. And I feel like even though this story, I feel like it made very subtle references to populism expressed in the Trump era. There was a couple of references which were not part of the main story. They were like a sideline story embodied through the character that played by Shia LaBeouf. Hope I pronounced that correct. I liked how that was in the main story. Wasn't about something that was like about today, even though it did comment on today. I liked how it was actually much more deeper than that, and it went to like more eternal human themes. It's the sort of film, like, if you have the appetite to, you could watch it multiple times and glean something different out of it. So yeah, it's not like, oh, I'd never want to see it again. I'll probably never see it on the big screen again. I feel like it's a film that needs to sink in. But over time, I really feel there's so many layers to this film that it could be worth watching, and it's just visually dazzling that it really speaks about, I guess, Francis Ford Coppola, his ideas, his vision. Some things might seem a little bit outdated. For example, the portrayal of women. Just, you could call it on a more deeper level, the portrayal of gender. But it's not a huge thing, but I think some people may, be aware of that. I do feel like it is a portrait of the ideas embodied by someone like Francis Ford Coppola that speaks of our time. If he's 85, he's coming towards the end of his life. He's known a period of prolonged peace, I'm guessing. I kind of love that someone has done something that is meaningful to themselves and put so much into it, and someone who has all those resources to really invest in a visually stunning feature film is totally worth seeing. So that's my 2 cents. Maybe this review is slightly ambiguous. There are a couple of impassioned reviews about this film on YouTube. There's quite a lot of critiques, mostly critiques on YouTube, so this will kind of fit somewhere in. Like, I am a approver of the film, not necessarily a promoter, but I feel like this film is really I think it's gonna age well, but not in our generation. It's gonna take time and be definitely something out there. Like, imagine in the future if we are in an age of decadence and we don't have the monetary means in the future to produce such a beautiful film, just like we don't have the monetary capacity to reproduce the great buildings of Europe. We might look back at this and marvel at it, provided that we keep our internet connection. So, bit of a ramble, but hey, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.